Are you listening? Damn.
Yo, welcome to another edition of the AFC North. I was going to say SCG, sorry. AFC North Talk. Here are my guy Ace, Hugh, and Tony. And I feel like, we have been doing like an hour and a half shows, and I feel like it's not even enough, right? Like at the end of the show, we're like, damn, we left all this stuff. And
we barely hit all the topics, yeah.
I know, right? It's because you know what we do, right? Super chats are available. You can derail the show. We guarantee you answering the questions. So make sure if you want a question answer or just a comment, leave that super chat. Also, share the content. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit that bell so you can be notified when we go live. Anyway, let's get right away. Orlando Brown Jr. I'm not gonna discuss. I'm gonna want to let you guys talk because I know Tony was in my live stream when I was ranting, and it was fun. I got a bunch of comments from the Ravens fan base. But anyway, I want to know what you think. Ace, I'm gonna start with you. What do you think about this trade, Orlando Brown Jr. To the Chiefs?
I mean, I think we all knew that it was coming, right? When he said that it came out, I'm a left tackle. I mean, we kind of knew that it was coming, and to see what the Ravens got for him, it is tough because for me, the way that I looked at it as if the Chiefs are willing to give that up, to move out of the first round and give some more draft picks to the Ravens in a draft that's supposedly loaded with offensive linemen, that to me says from the NFL pro level, they don't view it. Some teams don't view it the same way. They don't view these guys as being on the level of Orlando Brown, who was, by the way, taken in the third round and has obviously evolved into a top flight tackle in the NFL. So for me, that was concerning for me as a Bengals fan with us getting ready to pass on Penei Sewell and hope that you have the right guy there at 38. That's the way that I kind of took it as, oh, wow. But it was something that had to be done because he didn't want to be there. But I think that it sucks because the Ravens, they get a first round pick for him, but it just you don't know if they got enough because there was a mixed bag with all of the picks thrown in there. So when you look at it that way, you kind of have to wait until those picks are made to actually kind of judge this trade. And one thing that just comes to mind is you talk about the Carson Palmer trade, right? The Bengals ended up getting a first round pick that was, I believe, Drake Kirkpatrick and another one that was Giovanni Bernard. Well, yeah, that looks great in hindsight because those were two good picks. But let's just say the Chiefs or the Ravens end up picking a guy that's a bust, and you don't know what that return is. But for me, I feel like the Ravens were in kind of a corner and had to kind of make the trade. And to get a first rounder, I think is worth it, but it just depends what they do with it, right? Yeah, it's 31. It's pretty much a second rounder, but can they use those two picks to move up? We'll have to see. Will they use those two picks to move up, or will they just stay there? So for me, I think you still have to wait for it to kind of play out. But for me, the Ravens losing Orlando Brown, yeah, I'm going to like that for now. But if they trade up and get Kyle Pitts or something like that, or Devonta Smith, then yeah, I'm worried. So for me, I think that the Ravens had to do this. And I think that they got decent value in return, but some people also feel like the Chiefs fleeced them. I'm still waiting to see what happens with those actual picks to be able to determine what the trade was and who won it.
Okay. Q.
Yeah, so I think Ace hit on something interesting, right? And I don't know if it's going to be because people don't like this offensive tackle class. I think it might actually be the opposite of why the Chiefs traded out of the first round. And that is, I think teams are starting to identify that there was a little bit of an offensive lineman drought. Like where there were like not as many good offensive linemen entering the league for a few years in the draft, which is now kind of put teams in positions where like they're decent teams and they're like in the middle of the draft, but they have offensive line that need more than you would expect it. And I think, from 10, because we know probably Slater and Sewell are going to go in the top 10, but I think from 10 to 20, you can see a ton of offensive linemen just fly off the
Yep.
board. Like Darrish Shaw, he's probably not going to make it past that run. Tevin Jenkins, I would find it hard to believe he would be there at 26, let alone 31, where the Chiefs were picking. You know, at 31, you're talking about maybe Elovera, maybe Reduns. But if there's a run and teams start to feel like these guys aren't going to be there later on, especially early in that teens, they will trade up to take the Reduns and Elovera because, you know, they're better than the alternative, or even a Sam Cosmi. I don't know how people feel about him, but he will be gone. Like, yeah, a lot of these guys, like I think people are going to be surprised with how many offensive linemen go off because, you know, when there's a good offensive lineman draft in the modern era of college football, it's been few and far between. And when that is there, you got to get it when you can get it. This is why also I'm like, why the Bengals got to go offensive line at 5, because like waiting in the second round is a dangerous game to play with, especially when there ain't a lot of offensive linemen that are coming out that are good every year. Like this is not a guarantee you're going to find an all-pro guard or all-pro tackle in a draft, or even a starting guard or a tackle in a draft a lot. Like these are gambles. These are real gambles. So that's what I see from the Chiefs, why they did this, right? Orlando Brown's a short thing. He's going to be expensive. I don't know what they're going to do with the cap, but the cap is a mindset at this point. I don't know. It's not like what we think it is where we go to over the cap and add it all up. And, it's going to be 10. No, it is malleable to a freakishly long extent.
Like the US.
I'm not even going to try to act like I know anything about the cap anymore. I'm just going to roll on with it because I don't know what it is. But yeah, that's going to be expensive. He's going to be very good. And they're quietly building up a decent offensive line there in Kansas City. They let go of Eric Fisher. They're obviously not going to keep Mitchell Schwartz. Who's their left tackle at this point?
Orlando Brown.
Orlando Brown is the left tackle. I'm a left tackle.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, he's a left tackle. So they got to figure out right tackle still. That's
might have to trade him if you try to put him at right tackle.
They still have Lucas Niang, I think, their third round pick from a year ago.
Yeah,
so that's probably they probably slide him in at the right tackle spot.
They brought Long.
Yeah, see how that goes. See how that goes.
Tooney, yeah. They have a good veteran defensive line,
but they got like Tooney and everything. We'll see how Tooney works out because some Patriots offensive linemen can sometimes just disappear on that.
That is true.
But yeah, as far as like for the trade compensation, it's an interesting one, right? Because if you just told me like two teams made this trade, I'll be like, yeah, it's pretty fair for Orlando Brown, right? You know, I mean, they got the first round swaps and everything, but it's to the Chiefs, and like it's kind of just, it would be hard for me as a Raven fan to watch the Chiefs beat you 2 years in a row. Everybody talk about how you can't beat Kansas City, and then you trade one of your best young players to them for a question mark at what you're going to get there at 31. And that's the difficult part about this. It's not that you made the trade. You had to make the trade. I know people are like, they could have kept. You couldn't keep him. He was gone at that point. Like once he announces publicly he wants to go, he's gone. So you got to do something with him. And, they did what they had to do. It's just, man, giving them up to a team that you're still hoping to surpass actively while your quarterback's on his rookie deal, that's at the prime window. That's tough. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to swallow. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It would take beating the Chiefs in like the championship round probably for the Ravens to be able to justify it. But if they come anywhere near short, you bet you're going to hear that from Raven fans. Well, we shouldn't trade Orlando Brown Jr. to him. Orlando Brown couldn't play in that game. He could be injured for that game. Raven fans will still talk about it. So, it's a deal. It's an interesting deal that they had to make there. Like, it's a rough position they were in.
Tony, what do you think, man?
Yeah, there's so many things to go over here, and I think Quincy hit on a lot of them, right? So you talk about trading them to your, what is your biggest rival in the conference, right? Or certainly the team at the top of the conference right now that you're looking to get past. And I keep being reminded of the Antonio Brown trade here because obviously Antonio Brown had a ton more off the field problems and concerns than Orlando Brown did, but there were a lot of things going into. You remember the Steelers only got a third and a fifth for what was at the time the best receiver in football. And a lot of that had to do with a couple things, right? Number one, he could basically choose where he wanted to go because he was going to get a new contract that year. Now with Orlando Brown, it's going to be a year before they give him a new contract. He may be able to test free agency here after the Chiefs. but the Steelers didn't have a lot of leverage there, right? They just did not. AB wanted out. He said, I'm not playing for this team ever again. And so the Steelers had to trade him to someone. And the one thing the Steelers did not want to do was trade him to New England, because that was at a time when the Steelers felt like, they were, right there with New England. And so it is surprising to me to see the Ravens go ahead and, we're going to make this deal and essentially make the Chiefs a better football team, right? The Chiefs right now, what their biggest weakness was, and what we saw in that Super Bowl was that, that when that offensive line is bad and they can't protect Mahomes, they are a vulnerable football team, a very vulnerable football team, because they didn't just lose the Super Bowl, they got smashed by the Buccaneers in that Super Bowl. And so you are not only helping the Chiefs, but you're actually helping their biggest weakness. The compensation itself, and Sonny, you did a great job of this on your video, kind of, going through and saying this is the 44th pick, basically, after you do all the compensation back and forth. The 44th pick in the draft for Orlando Brown may not seem like enough for the Ravens, but again, I just go back to the idea that there's no leverage here. Like Quincy said, you can't keep him for this final year, because then you let him go in free agency and you get back a 3rd round pick, right? So your compensation for that is even lower. And in the meantime, you have a player playing on a contract that he doesn't want to be there, right? So now you have got kind of a locker room issue that you have to deal with as well. So, and this is a good tackle class, and this is a class that I think a lot of teams are feeling like, especially in the teens, which I think is where Ravens fans felt like they could get honest compensation for Orlando Brown. Those teams in the teens feel like we're going to get an Orlando Brown, and we're not going to have to give you, we don't have to trade away the pick to do it. We don't have to pay all the money to Orlando Brown in a year from now. And I think that was the big concern, right? You have a good tackle class. You have a Ravens team with not a whole lot of leverage in the situation. And so it led to a situation where I think probably Kansas City was far and away their best offer. And they felt like, we want picks in this draft class. We're not waiting until after the draft. So that's why they did it. I think it's a fair trade for the Ravens from a compensation standpoint, but I don't love the idea that they gave him to Kansas City, because if you're trying to beat Kansas City, the worst thing you can do is actively make them better. And that's what the Ravens did.
Yeah, I will say this. I ranted almost for an hour about this shit.
Yes, you did. I loved it. By the way, everyone should watch the video. If you have not watched Sonny's video on this, it was a very good video. Loved it. Not just because Sonny got angry. I mean, he did a good job of explaining why Ravens fans are so upset.
I'll wait for the Rosu rant on draft night.
That will be a bigger rant. But look, my whole point was I would have not made this trade. I would have waited to draft day, because I did a lot of tackle evaluation, because I knew, and then at some point I stopped checking the tackles, and there's a lot of solid guys. My problem is I don't know how many of them are day one starters on left tackle. And if you have a ready to go quarterback, let's say like Herbert, in the case of Patrick Mahomes, if you have your established quarterback, you don't want to go with an unknown on left tackle. And that is what Orlando Brown feels. Now, you could have waited to draft day. If this was the compensation, you could have waited to draft day, because I think a team would have panicked. It's like, man, I'm not sure if this is going to be on left tackle. Let me call the Ravens and at least just give them my first, and I have Orlando Brown. That's what I would have done. My problem was, as soon as I saw the deal, when I saw that they gave up their 2nd round pick, the Ravens did, I was like, I'm out of this deal. Not because we traded Orlando Brown Jr., that is how the compensation went, because everybody, you see, you all mentioned this. Oh, the Ravens got our 1st round pick, but that's great. I mean, that's what everybody keys on. What I key on is after the 31st pick, we don't pick until the 94th. From 31st to 94th.
Grab a Snickers.
Now, what's going to happen is we're going to trade back. And then that's what, so my Ravens fans are like, oh, Sonny, but we're going to get that 2nd when we trade back. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So we can get a 2nd and a 4th, right? So I'm just baffled. It was stupid for me. I mean, I was like, is this real? This is the best we can do. Again, I would have waited to draft it, because I'm sure Kansas City, that compensation would have been there from Kansas City if they wanted to on draft day. So yeah, I was not a big fan. Now trading it to the Chiefs, different from you guys. Whatever the best deal is, I don't care. I mean, if the Bengals, for example, would have called, hey, we'll give you the 36, whatever they have, sure, here. right? If that would have been the best deal. So that's
no, you guys would have hit us over the head. In division trade, you gotta hit us over the head. You gotta be like, I want 3 number ones.
At this point, though,
point
right?
is,
For the Ravens, though, like at this point, is trading him to the Chiefs really that much different than trading him in the division to the Bengals?
Yeah.
I would argue that trading him to the Bengals would be less
It's less
to the bottom line. No disrespect to the Bengals. I know Bengals fans about to get mad at me, but I mean, it's the Chiefs, dog. Like everybody got to beat them. And you played them this year.
Yeah,
because we played AFC West.
Okay, so that's my take. We have the 31st pick, but after that we don't pick for a while. And I'm sure the Ravens say, I mean, there is a rumor from Jason Lockenfora that is right about 20% of the time. But saying that
Lockenfora, not a great track record, but every once in a while.
Yeah, every once in a while. The Ravens are taking calls for that. Anyway, let's go. We have a bunch of super chats here. Let me just go through them real quick.
Do it.
Rex says, shout out to you. Thank you for the donation. I hope falling trends continue. Greedy wasn't supposed to be a second rounder. Doubt it either. Q, if Horn or someone falls to 26, will you go wild? I don't think Horn's going wild, but what do you think, Q?
I mean, I would go wild if JC Horn was there at 20. I don't know what would have had to happen. Like JC Horn would have had to have that what would Laramie Tunsil video pop up right before the draft or something. Even now, people are like, "Yo, baby, we don't really even test that hard in the NFL like
not
that
anymore."
Yeah, so I don't think that'd be a big deal. But yeah, that would be good. I think JC Horn's probably going to jump dudes. Like it'd be more possible to see Patrick Surtain Jr. fall there to 26 than it would be for JC. But yeah, I would be doing cartwheels on my stream if JC Horn falls to 26.
Caleb Farley.
Farley's the one that's Farley.
If anyone's going to fall, it's Farley.
Because when you think about these two players he talks about,
it depends on where you think Caleb Farley is going to go to begin with, though, if you think he's going, because like I'm like Caleb Farley, I'll look at him like, late first, maybe second round. Okay, yeah, we'll do the Caleb Farley thing in the second round. But I don't know what teams are because I see him all over the board. 10,
it's because he's got a bad back. So before that, there was talk of Farley being the first corner taken, but until the medical stuff with his back came out, because like people were talking about him going before Surtain, like him being the number one got taken, but with this back stuff and the medical coming back and the recheck not going well, now it's almost kind of like the Keenan Allen situation from a few years ago. Like, oh, now there's this like injury thing that's going to push him down. So fairly. I wouldn't have a problem with taking Farley. Well, I would have a problem with the Browns taking Farley. But
here's why I wouldn't be the biggest fan of it. One, like a bad back, man, that's scary because like bad backs just lead to all kinds of other injuries. And two, dog, we don't need another hurt corner. Like, Denzel, we're already like, hey, baby, give us 12 games. You know what I mean? 12 out of 16. If you give us 12 out of 16, we fine, Denzel. We got the Clowney thing. Clowney's not a corner, but, we're just relying on a lot of dudes who don't play full games. Like, Miles don't normally play a full season either. Greedy Williams ain't never played nowhere close to a full season. And then Grant Delpit, he tore his Achilles. So, I would like to get somebody who you would feel a little bit better about the injury history if you're going to draft them at 1. For the Browns, I think if it comes down to like a Kelvin Joseph who has other issues that are not injury related, but they are ability to be on the field related, you have to weigh those things kind of similarly because I don't know how you want to do that because like you can easily see yourself in a room where you're relying on Grant or relying on Denzel Ward and Caleb Farley, and then you got Troy Hill out there as your number one corner for a game. Like it can just happen like that. So that's why I'm like, I don't know about that one, but I get why people are high on them.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the two players that Rex mentioned, right, Greedy and Delpit, I mean, the reasons that they fell were obvious, even during the draft. Right? It was surprising because those were guys that were mocked in the first round and then they fell. But both guys, if you looked at their evaluations, had big red flags, right? Greedy Williams, not a guy who's going to come down in the run game whatsoever. All you want him to do is be a cover corner. You're never going to ask him to do more than that. And then he gets hurt in practice on
ironically.
Yeah, I mean,
the games that Greedy Williams has played in, he has been a fire run defender at corner.
Yeah. Great for his branding, though, that he got hurt in a run drill in practice. And then Delpit, Delpit has all that bad tape in 2019, right? I mean, look, everyone looks back at 2018 and says, this kid was incredible. He had the ankle injury in 2019, but he put a ton of bad tape out there, and that made him fall into the second round. JC Horn doesn't have these problems. problems, right? Every JC Horn tape is, holy cow, this kid's incredible. He's so athletic, right? I mean, there's no way he falls to 26 because if he falls past 24, okay, I quit. Like I'm out. I'm out of the deal.
You're ain't letting that happen.
I'm out.
So
the Steelers take Asante Samuel over him.
Yeah.
You'd be like, it's Artie Burns all over again.
Oh, I see. It would be like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Who are the corners I don't really like? I guess Eric Stokes would be the one in this class I'm not a huge fan of.
Ooh, Eric Stokes to the Steelers. Sign him up.
So the trip here, Julio Jones to the Ravens. Julio Jones to the Ravens. I think nice for
y'all love getting excited over these wide receivers who don't ever want to play for y'all.
Look, me and Julio Jones he's 15 mil over in the cap, and the Ravens, I think they made some cap room, and I think what's going to happen is they're going to try to sign outside linebackers and tackles as soon as this draft is over. So I don't think it's happening.
I'm with you. I don't think it's happening either. Yeah.
Raven fans, by the way, please it kind of makes me sad when I see y'all do this because it's eventually gonna hurt you. Like, just stop. Like you know what the situation. They kept Greg Roman, dog. That's not a sign that means we gonna go all in on Julio. Like that's not usually how those things work, man. Just accept that y'all not doing that.
They try on D-Hop last year. Houston said we're not trading in the AFC. And then they traded it to the NFC. So it wasn't that they didn't try, but I don't think it's going to happen. Julio's also 32, about to be. So I don't know. I think I'll pass on Julio this time. Devonta slips. EDC moves up to snack.
Sonny, I need to know what you would think about because we were joking about this in our text thread the other day, right? The idea that the Ravens trade up to get a 170-pound receiver, and you knowing what you think the Ravens need at wide receiver. Devonta was a Heisman Trophy winner, great tape. But obviously, he doesn't fit the mold that you're looking for from a Ravens number one. How would you feel if this actually happened? If Devonta Smith is the next Ravens wide receiver?
So if we trade up and drafted him, I'm in Joe Nubel's channel on Thursday. I will say, Nubel, I'm out. I need to take some sleep. I'm out.
Wow.
Bless y'all.
Well, come on. He got body control and length. He can do that.
Devonta Smith is one of the best receivers in the class.
Devonta Smith is, and you guys might think I'm crazy. When I was watching it, and I didn't do very extent on neither Chase or Devontae or the other
Waddle. Probably Waddle.
Yeah, because we ain't getting all this.
They're gone.
So, but the little that I saw from Devontae.
Well, you don't need to because y'all gonna get Julio Jones.
Yeah, that's right. The little trading up for Pitts.
If he comes to the Ravens, he essentially is another Hollywood Brown. He is another Hollywood Brown.
Oh, don't do Devonta like that. Don't do Devonta like that. Come on. I get they got similar body profiles, but come on. What has a drastically different production history than other?
Devonta is a better version coming out of college than Hollywood, but essentially they're the same type of players. How you gonna utilize it?
Nah.
Long story short, I don't want Devonta Smith. I will be upset. I will be.
Waddle, yes. Devonta Smith and Hollywood Brown are completely different players.
I would give look.
Like Hollywood Brown.
I know this is crazy to say this about a 6 foot 107, but he really might be a lot better than 50-50 balls than people give him credit for. And he is really long. Like he can touch his ankles just standing up. Like he has incredible. He got like 6'4".
Devonta Smith to me is.
I just because I used to see where you were on Devonta. I'm just watch his game against Ohio State and see how he just absolutely dropped Sean Wade to the 7th round. Like, it's just it's what I mean. I
would be worried if the Ravens got Devonta Smith. Like I had to finally say this because everyone's scared to say it unless people actually watch the film. Devonta Smith to me is the best receiver in this class. So if the Ravens were to get him, like the only thing you can say about him is he's 170 pounds. Notice no one says anything about his route running. No one says anything about his catches. No one says anything about anything except stuff that you can actually change. And I'm not worried about that because these guys get $1 million chefs and trainers and stuff like that. If you want to put 15 pounds on him, you could do that.
But I don't think he wants to, though, right? Because didn't he come in even lighter at the combine? He came in like 165 or something?
165.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I'm not saying that he's gonna be a bad receiver. This is not me thinking that he's gonna be trash or anything. I just think for the Ravens,
Man, Hollywood Brown comparison, I don't know.
Oh, come on now. Hold on. You're gonna make me defend Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown. He's not a solid. Look, he's not a one receiver, but Hollywood Brown can run the X. Like, I don't know if there's a name for that, but somebody who's not a one, but they can run the X. And if you do have somebody like Devonta Smith at the with the Z, then you can make that work, because Devonta could do all the hard stuff, and then all you gotta tell Hollywood to do is go downfield and get lucky. And to Hollywood's credit, he goes downfield and he gets lucky a lot more often than you would think. Like, that was the whole second half of the season while people were trolling me about Marquise Brown, was that he was just going downfield wide open.
Yeah. Okay, so we had Easy for POTUS here. Who do you guys think is going to be a giant sleeper / steal in the draft? I personally think it is Jonathan Marshall from Arkansas. I don't know, man. I think the problem with this draft is so many unknowns. I know you guys kill me because I don't like basically any edge rushers, but the reality is a bunch of these edge rushers can be good. It's just literally they're unknowns to me because I see a lot of just raw potential. And if they're in the right system with right coaching, some of them, not all, some of them might be good. But they're not ready day one.
You have one? I have two guys here that I've been kind of pounding the table for a while. So one is probably a day two player, Tyson Campbell from Georgia. I've talked about him in the past. I think might be the best corner just if you don't throw the ball his way. Because as soon as the ball's in the air, he loses his mind. He doesn't know what to do. He never attacks the ball. It is incredible that a corner can be that good at covering without actually being able to make plays on the ball. I said this in a video I did the other day. He makes 50-50 balls, like 75-25 for the receiver. But if you can get that out of him, if you get him to play the ball better, boy, this guy is going to be a shutdown. And then the running back that I love in this class is Chris Evans, right? Captain America himself from Michigan. I think this kid, he's so underrated because we missed out on the tape from him in 2019. And then 2020 goes into a Michigan offense that's terrible. He doesn't get a bunch of reps. There's a bunch of questions about, is he still the player we last saw, really going all the way back to 2018, kind of like Walker Little a little bit from Stanford, the tackle. I like Chris Evans' tape a lot. I think this is a guy who was thought of out of high school and in freshman, sophomore years as, just as good as Najee Harris. Now, Najee Harris was able to be in a stable program for his entire college career. Chris Evans had the suspension, then came back to a Harbaugh, trying to make that work in a pandemic season. So I think Chris Evans could be a real steal on day 3.
Any other you guys have?
I think for me, there's always a guy that was like nationally touted the year before in the draft, going like first round, top 10. And then they have these injuries and it pushes them down. And I think that guy is going to be Dylan Moses. I think if someone can get Dylan Moses in like the 3rd or 4th round or something like that, that's going to be a huge steal because that's huge value. Because this guy, if he would have come out last season or last draft, he would have been in the 1st round. So I think for me, it's Dylan Moses. I'm still trying to scratch my head outside of the health concerns. What would be a reason that he would fall that far in this class? And I think it's going to be him.
Who's another player like that is Sean Wade from Ohio State, who was thought of, he more went to the outside this year and got absolutely dominated on the outside.
Poor little Sean Wade.
But you put him back inside, slot him, put him back inside. Yeah, it's not as valuable, but put him back inside. We saw him put up some good tape in 2019.
You Mike Hilton now.
Exactly. Sorry.
You are in blitz packages, and we might trust you to run out in the flat and cover a running back. Like that's. That running back bends the corner, you better help slide.
I think I would say I like Basham, the kid from Wake Forest. Also, another guy that it looks like is rising up the core side, Tyron from Washington. So, oddly enough, two edges.
Tryon. Yeah.
Two edges, right? I killed the edge class that I call them two edges. But the other thing is 2 tight ends, Tremble and Pat Fairmont. I like both of them. Hopefully, one of those is a Raven. Is what I want. One of those to be a Raven.
And I'm with you on Tremble. I think Fairmont. I question whether or not he's got the athletic traits to actually make it at the next level. But
the tight ends sometimes they're not that athletic. He knows how to get open. He has good hands too. Q, anyone you have?
Yeah, Tony kind of stole mine. I was gonna go Sean Wade here. I just don't know where his confidence is at, and that is a real thing for defensive backs. Like that Devonta Smith game, man. I was so upset for him at one point because there's one play. I was talking about this with my guy G. Bush, where they put Sean Wade out there with the safety on the other side of the field, it was like, all right, man, you're going to press Devonta Smith with no safety help over top. And it went as bad as you think it would. Like, Devonta got rid of him before the man could punch, and he was downfield. He was gone. Sean Wade was still facing this way. And, it was rough for him. I don't know where his confidence is, but I do think he's somebody who could have a little bit of use in him. Maybe a team thinks, hey, we'll just put him back at strong safety and see if he can do that well, like he did at Ohio State when they had a lot of depth. And maybe we got a lot of depth, we can have him live out there, or they could do the Mike Hilton thing with him. It's really going to depend on his confidence. And, depending on where he gets drafted, I don't know how that's going to go for him. But yeah, as Sean Wade, somebody who very talented, just got a real raw deal. You talk about like sometimes you just don't need to do it for the team. Like he came back after he had opted out, and he should have just opted out. Like it would have been better for him. Yeah,
it's funny because
put him in some bad situations there at Ohio State.
It's funny because I just happened to be listening to the Club Shay Shay Devonta Smith interview. So they're asking him like, what were you thinking coming into that game? Apparently, Sean Wade said something in the media like, who do you think I'm guarding? I'm guarding Devonta. So Devonta was like, he wants to guard me. And here's the other crazy thing about that game. Devonta Smith had 200-plus receiving yards with 3 touchdowns in the first half. Not the whole game.
He hurt
the
his
first
wrist.
half. He hurt. Yeah, he like dislocated his something. He dislocated something.
It came
and
back
so it's possible if Devonta Smith would have finished that game, he could have potentially had like the rookie, not the rookie, but the record for yardage in an actual championship game. He was going to go for like 300 or 400. It was going to get ugly. It was going to get ugly.
It was that.
It was already ugly.
It was really just if Ohio State can keep enough points up to justify Alabama keep throwing this ball up. Like that was really what it was about. It was again very unfortunate for Sean Wade. Like he got put in a lot of positions at Ohio State he probably talked himself into it. Look, I'm gonna come back. I'm that guy. I'm gonna be outside. I'm gonna be Denzel Ward, Garyon Conley. And it just sometimes it don't work out for you, man. Sometimes it just don't.
So Mr. Aggie Pride, I think, is this one, right? The Ace 513 used to smoke Ace Boogie on Medal of Honor.
Nobody plays Medal of Honor. Everybody plays Call of Duty, which I smoked you on. So
by the way,
that's
shout out to Medal of Honor. Smoke on some Medal of Honor pack tonight. Would they still make Medal of Honor?
No,
Medal of Honor game so old. You get the blue EA.
If you have to think, do they still make it?
I don't know.
Yeah, they when you play Medal of Honor, you get the old school EA. It was like challenge everything. They used to be on like Harry Potter games. Like, what is this?
Another super chat here from Meat Whip. Thank you for the donation. €5. Look at that international.
There you go, Sonny. All right, you bringing in the international crowd.
Man, we're international just to fly to Pittsburgh.
There we go.
This year to see my Steelers for the first time from a sightseeing point of view. Which other AFC North city I should go to? I
think Cleveland, if you're looking for the least travel, Cleveland I think is the closest, right? By driving. Yeah.
Go to be more.
I ain't trying to disrespect my city or nothing like that. I would show love to it. Look, I love Cleveland. Homeboy, just go to Baltimore. There's a little bit more to do.
Yeah.
The international has got like a little bit more of a, the East Coast has a little bit more of that what you're familiar with the walkability. And there's a beach.
You should take a vacation in Cleveland. Just do it.
No.
Look, I love Cleveland, but like Cleveland's not where you go from Europe. Like that's an adjustment that you are not ready for. Like,
every time I hear something like this, all I can think of is my homeboy. He played basketball. Joakim Noah. Remember what his comment was?
Oh, no. See, we ain't gonna go there. I'm just saying, like, I have never ran into somebody in Cleveland with a British accent, and I feel like there's a reason people don't be coming out here from Europe to Cleveland. But I've ran into people with British accents in Baltimore. It's closer to the port. Just go ahead and check that out, man. That's gonna be more for you. All right.
Yeah. I mean, look, and also DC's there, and there's shirt drive.
Hey, so gonna tell him to come to the Natty? Is he ready for the Natty?
Come to the Natty. I don't know if you want to go all the way into Baltimore though, too. Now let's not let him end up in the wire or something like that.
No. Stay near the baseball park. There's a line. You can.
Get off on the right exit now.
Yeah.
There's a hotel. You can tell it splits. It splits in Baltimore.
Yeah.
You go too far west. Be careful out there. If you see some vacants, Chris and Snoop there run. All right.
Okay, so look, I'm more international from the Canadian side now.
There we go.
Devonta Smith. Don't worry, Sonny. We're gonna let our MVP, Harvard job saving QB, graduate, and we'll trade up for Justin Fields, Army of the NFL. Look,
now this is not his take. Have you guys seen this?
No,
take?
I know.
Bucky Brooks' take.
Was it Bucky or was it Lance Riddick?
No. It was Bucky Brooks.
It was Bucky Brooks.
It was. I know that he had the glasses. It was Bucky Brooks.
Yeah, I was shocked at this comment. I saw this comment, and for a moment, I was like, I think I just heard something that wasn't right. Like I think I'm imagining things, and then I went back. I'm like, he really said this thing. Why he's picking on Lamar? Why not do it with Allen or the others? I understand we had 2 first-round picks. I was like, but isn't the whole point to have a quarterback that is proven? Look, I will say this, and
but never pay them I guess would be Bucky Brooks.
Yeah, but I will say this: like, there's nothing worse than being QB hell. I understand paying. The best scenario is having a cheap, really good quarterback, right? That's where Baltimore is right now. That's where Cleveland is right now. That's where Buffalo is right now, and they're gonna be paying these quarterbacks. And that is fine. Optimus scenario is having them cheap. I'm sorry, Cincinnati as well. So the best moment is having this QB performing on a cheap contract. But the worst thing you can have is no quarterback, and you're in QB hell. And doesn't matter if
treat quarterback like running back. Dime a dozen. It's a dime a dozen position, Sonny. You get one. You want Dwayne Haskins? You want Mason Rudolph?
You know what's the wild part?
Who you want?
You know what the wild part of this was?
Kyle Trask?
He wasn't even like, get the 5th-year option. He was like, no, you gotta do this right now. Like, don't even. He was like the 32nd pick in the draft. You know how cheap that 5th-year option is? He is like, nah, man, we gotta do it. And it was like, we gonna plug in Justin Fields to do what Lamar Jackson does. Boy, that was a bald-headed take. Didn't have nothing on it. Every year we get a take that's like, all right, draft's coming. Draft needs to come. And speaking I ain't gonna go with that one, but speaking of bald-headed takes, Tony, tell us about how we gonna get our balls clean.
Woo! Well, our sponsor over at Manscaped will help you out. The NFL draft just a couple days away. The Bengals looking to protect their franchise. We want to help you protect your franchise. Our partners at Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, have partnered with us to make sure you don't gamble on shaving your balls the same way you like to gamble on football. For listeners of AFC North Talk, we have an exclusive 20% off promo code AFC North Talk, all one word, at manscaped.com. The reason why we love Manscaped is they have this performance package. You'll find products like the liquid formulations they've developed to turn your bathroom into a salon for your balls. This package includes the Weed Whacker nose, ear, and hair trimmer, the best tool on the market for nose and ear hair. The Crop Preserver is anti-chafing ball deodorant that ensures your balls smell amazing. The Crop Reviver, spray-on toner for your balls. Yes, you heard that right. It's made with soothing aloe and witch hazel extracts that make your balls feel like Tom Brady after a little avocado tequila. And for a limited time, buyers of the Performance Package receive not 1, but 2 free gifts. The Shed Travel Bag, a $39 value add, and the patented high-performance anti-chafing Manscaped Boxer Brace, which Manscaped provided some of those to us. I'll tell you what, they are immediately the best boxers I own. So support the show. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AFC North Talk at manscaped.com.
It's a win-win,
guys.
guys.
The Joe Burrow pick of boxers. I'm telling you.
Can't miss.
Don't miss your balls like Bucky Brooks missed the ball on that pick. But also, like, I see people questioning, did Bucky Brooks really mean that? I 100% promise you, he does believe it. Like, this is just that part of the season where, like, people talk themselves in to really goofy stuff. It happened. Right. I showed you guys the Sports Illustrated cover. Blaine Gabbert, Jake Locker, Cam Newton. Who's gonna go first, guys? It's a crapshoot. It could be anybody.
Yeah, Bucky Brooks is not a guy that puts hot takes. I never thought about Bucky Brooks in a hot take, right? That's not him. He's not a
We all got our bad ones. Yeah,
we've all been there.
Remember when Lamar won the MVP, and I spent the whole year talking about how he's not going to win the MVP? And he won the MVP.
Yeah.
So we all have our bad takes. Yeah. Kyler Murray better than Lamar. I've had a handful.
Oh, indeed.
So the trip, shout out to you, Bucky Brooks, who have a point if Lamar wasn't a great QB. For someone like Alex Smith or Jimmy G, it makes sense. For Lamar, GMs get fired over that. Yeah, I mean, right. Lamar can play young and all that, right? I mean, Alex Smith and Jimmy G.
And the mid-range quarterback is where you would make this move. But Lamar's not a mid-range guy. So he's a 10, 11 win a season guy. Now, playoffs are a different question, and that's the debate. But you don't trade away or get rid of a guy who is guaranteeing to get you to the playoffs every single season for his career. It's insane.
That'd be like, yo, should the Lakers draft a three to get rid of LeBron?
Can't stay healthy. LeBron can't stay healthy anymore.
We can't. And then John here, shout out to you. Thank you for the donation. What are you guys' thoughts on Cam Newton in his second year with New England? Who was most at fault for New England sports season last year? I mean,
COVID.
Yeah, I was gonna say New England last year had the most players opt out. I think, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, basically half of their defense, the star players of the defense, were like, "We ain't gonna be good this year." They just opt out. So, and then Cam Newton gets there late, no off season, right? No really practice. So, and then Cam gets COVID. Then after that, he wasn't really as good as he was at the beginning. I mean, it was a lot.
They're terrible at wide receiver evaluation, just
horrible
through and through. They're anti-Steelers.
They were getting injuries, and then COVID, and then their wide receiving room wasn't good to begin with, and their offensive line was, and and Cam. Look, let's give him his credit though. Cam, before he got COVID, it looked like that was going to work for a little while.
Yeah,
and then he got it. Yeah. It never looked the same. So
what was it, week 2 or was it week 1? They had a Sunday Night Football game against the Seahawks. It was Russ and Cam going back and forth. It looked like a classic Russ versus Cam type game, and it looked like both teams were going to be destined to meet again potentially in February, but that crashed and burned.
Right.
Okay, so let's move here now real quick for team needs, right? We said we're going to discuss this today. So we'll start with the Bengals, because I think the Bengals should be fairly easy one, because we had discussed the Bengals being on the 5th overall pick. So what I'll do is I'll let the person's team to be the last. Ace, you read the last one, and you can concur or disagree with us. What I want is what you think they need, and the play you will hate they draft if they draft. Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, and Ace has hit on this, right? Obviously, offensive line is number 1 on the list. They gots to have offensive line. Now, they've done a good job in free agency of bringing in veteran guys that can play right away. But it's, you're not getting you're not getting the longevity out of a guy, like Riley Reef. So, Panay could be, would be an obvious option. Although in round 2, like we've talked about, the Sam Cosme's of the world, Liam Eichenberg, Alex Leatherwood. These are also players who I think the Bengals would be happy to have and could be more long-term type guys. I think wide receivers, specifically, a number 1 receiver, right? And, the alpha in the room at wide receiver would still be an option there. Just to, again, you just do the Kansas City thing where you just load up full of weapons at the defense. It's pick your poison, right? Sure, you can cover Chase, but we also have T. Higgins. And we also have Tyler Boyd. And we also have Joe Mixon out of the backfield. So, cover whoever you want, but you can't cover all of them. That they can probably only get in round 1, but this has been, it's a deep wide receiver class, and there's some guys in round 2 they could probably get. I think I go over to the defensive side. I don't know that I really love, I know that they got Trey Hendrickson, but I think edge is another position that they should probably address early on. And then I think, linebacker, I mean, look, the Bengals right now, as from a roster standpoint, it's not like they have a whole bunch of positions where you say, well, that's off limits. We are set at those spots. But I think for me, it's offensive line, it's wide receiver, and then, defensive line and linebacker would be the big ones. If there's a player in this draft I don't want to see them get, I mean, at number 5, I think the scariest guy is Kyle Pitts to me, because, he represents something we haven't seen. Now, whether or not you use him as a traditional tight end or really, he just ends up being another wide receiver, we just have not seen a prospect like this come out. Again, a transcendent player at the position. And I think that's, when you get a pick in the top 5, that's what you want. Panay is great. And he's, your left tackle for the next 15 years. Fantastic. But you get a transcendent tight end weapon to go along with your franchise quarterback. That's what propels you. That's what could propel you to a Super Bowl. So Kyle Pitts is the one guy I'm hoping that either is gone by the time the Bengals are on the board or the Bengals pass on.
Okay, Q.
Yeah. So as far as like who the Bengals, I don't want to see the Bengals get.
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah. Penei Sewell or Rashad Slater. I really don't want to see it. I don't want to see them get an elite left tackle. Somebody better than Jonah Williams to get out there and go up against Myles Garrett, because look, the Browns swept the Bengals and I love dancing in that glory, but we are 2 Myles Garrett strip sacks away from living in a very different reality where the Browns did not beat the Bengals twice and the Bengals swept the Cleveland Browns and the Browns don't do anything. They don't beat Pittsburgh. Tony's happier. Who wants that? And if the Bengals get Penei Sewell, like Tony might be happier. You know what I mean? Ace, I'm not gonna be mad at his happiness, but Tony's happiness, he's still a fan. I ain't trying to see it. But yeah, I'm not trying to see the Bengals go offensive linemen just because, like, I've joked about it before. I want that buffet to stay open. Like, keep that buffet open. I remember calculating, right? The Ravens, I think they got like 4 strip sacks in that one game, and then it was like 2. It was 2 in one game, and the Browns got 2 against them when they played them. So it was. Yeah, the strip sacks are an issue, and they lost a couple of games because of that. And again, I want Myles to win Defensive Player of the Year, and if y'all got y'all act together at left tackle, you're gonna do it. Now, if y'all get Chase, hey, look, it's gonna be hard to cover Chase and everything, but I don't know how you gonna find them. Like it's like the Patrick Mahomes question, right? They everybody was healthy at wide receiver for the Chiefs, right? They got Sammy Watkins back for that game. Travis Kelce was healthy. Tyreek Hill was. Did not matter.
Yeah,
did not matter.
Those were backup. Those were backup linemen. Yeah,
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Cincinnati though,
well, okay.
If you think Jonah Williams gonna play a full season, we betting on that. We betting on Jonah Williams.
Bet on it. I think Joe Burrow's knee's gonna bet on it.
Are we just betting on Riley Reef just being the same at 31? Like, how old do we think tackles get? You know what I mean? Like, we had this conversation about running back.
31's fine.
Rapidly.
Hey, Andrew was like 95 and he's still playing. I mean, Andrew Whitworth is,
Andrew Whitworth is. Like, we could point 3 guys out, but like Villanueva ain't on the Steelers no more. How old is he?
Sign with Baltimore, please. Sign with Baltimore. Yeah, it was the answer at right tackle. Yeah.
How old was Joe Thomas when he retired? Like,
he just hated the Browns because the Browns were bad.
Oh, come on. This dude played for like purposely terrible teams.
Yeah.
He had enough by the
respect.
time.
That was respect.
But yeah, again, you want to get Chase, if you want to get Chase, like, and you're just betting, hey, maybe there's offensive lineman next year and you're going to take that gamble. It's a rough gamble. But go by all means. Like, I'd rather them take that gamble. Not saying that Jamar Chase ain't going to work out eventually. Like, yeah, I think once you do get an offensive line, that will be spectacular. But what are the odds that there's going to be if you think Penei's a premium offensive tackle prospect, another premium offensive tackle prospect within your grasp? That's a rare thing. But there seems to be always a good wide receiver in the first round. You know what I mean? So that's just where I'm at with that. I'm not trying to disrespect Chase, even though I don't think he's the best wide receiver in this draft class. If the Bengals got like Devonta Smith, I'd be a little bit more worried. Kyle Pitts, wouldn't like that one. But obviously I don't want to go offensive line because I think that's going to affect their win-loss number more than anything.
I agree here with Q and every single point. I actually think Devonta Smith is a better fit, in my opinion, for the Bengals that with Chase will be. I understand the connection between Chase and Burrow. The guy that I don't want is Penei Sewell. If Penei Sewell is, for example, Ronnie Stanley, and I did the same thing. I check a bunch of tackles. Penei Sewell wasn't one of them because Baltimore was not getting Penei Sewell. But if Penei Sewell is Ronnie Stanley, for example, right? We drafted Stanley the 6th overall 5 years ago. Then, yeah, I don't want them to get that because, as Q said, the Ravens don't having a great pass rushing, but with Cincinnati was one of the few teams that we ate. Like, our stats are inflated on the sack side because of Cincy playing at them twice, and there was another team that we just annihilated. I can't remember. There was 3 teams that we annihilated at sacks, and Cincinnati was twice. So yeah, I don't want them to get Penei. I can deal with Chase, and no disrespect for Chase. I can deal with Pitt, although Pitt I think is fantastic. But again, I think what Quincy said is spot on. Look at the Chiefs. If I was a Bengals fan, I'll be like, again, if Penei Sewell, again, didn't scout him, but if Penei Sewell's that guy, put him there, Jonah, kick him into guard, see if we can have him getting healthier. And I think Reef as a right tackle for next year is fine. The problem with it's not even not finding the guy open. It's asking Burrow the probability of Burrow getting injured again, right? And you don't want that. If Burrow goes back and gets injured again with another CL, now it's looking back-to-back year with CL, so you don't want that. You want to protect him at all costs. Q.
Yeah, one thing I want to add to that, because I do think sometimes when we talk about offensive line, the conversation always goes to, well, you have to protect the quarterback. And obviously that is something you want to do when you draft offensive line. You want to protect the quarterback and everything. But I don't think enough conversation has been put on how much good offensive line play makes your quarterback better. Like, if you think you have a really good quarterback, like the offensive line protecting him, giving him more time, allowing Joe Burrow to be on target. Damn, we got this last time, Tony. What is it?
On schedule. It's on schedule. On schedule,
allowing him to be able to do the things that Joe Burrow did so fantastically at LSU that just aren't scrambling, or what he did in the pocket, why everybody thought so highly of him coming out. You know, if you don't put the best offensive line possible in front of him, you don't give Joe Burrow the best opportunity to grow, the best opportunity to develop. He could be healthy all next year, but what if he learns a ton of terrible pocket habits where he just starts breaking the pocket? This is what happened to Deshaun Watson, and why Deshaun Watson, even though he has Laramie Tunsil now, he gets sacked a ton. It's because he learned not terrible. He's still Deshaun Watson as a football player, at least. But he learned some bad habits there in the pocket, breaking it too early. Baker was a big example of this, right? He had 1 year of bad offensive line. And this man took like 8 games to recover from it in the next season, where he had to relearn some of his pocket mechanics. And that's something you don't want to mess with the young quarterback. We have never heard of a young quarterback being ruined because he had a great offensive line and no wide receivers. I've never heard of people make that argument where, oh, they ruined Sam Darnold because he just didn't have wide receiver talent, but they kept him upright. No, you ruined Sam Darnold because you make Sam Darnold throw in a bunch of dirty pockets. So, yeah, the injury part is one thing, right? And I get people are going to, you're fear-mongering about the injury, or you're trying to, sell me on fear, whatever they're throwing out there. Okay, let's not even throw fear into it. Let's say he keeps a healthy ACL 1 year to year. You think that's the only thing that's going to affect his level of play is if he gets injured? There are levels in between here that are very critical to developing a franchise quarterback to the best of his ability, and keeping him in good pockets is paramount to that. They name me the quarterback that's really developed, and I'm not going to go into that. I'm going too long. But yeah, I think sometimes we just boil down this quarterback offensive line argument. And I think Ace saw me getting into it with a bunch of randoms on his Twitter the other day about this. We break down the offensive line argument to keep him healthy or give him weapons. And it's like sometimes there's more to giving him offensive line help than just keeping him healthy that are going to be beneficial to him long term. And again, Joe Burrow's a long-term investment. This is not, let's play out his rookie deal and see what happens. This is like, you got 10 years. Ace is not trying to move that jersey behind his left shoulder for like the next 15 years. Like that. Right. He spent all that money on them Joe Burrow jerseys because he feels like they're going to be around for a while. So do everything you can to make sure that he develops into everything you hope he can be. And you do that not by giving him a ton of wide receivers, but by giving him the best offensive line that you can put together with all of your resources, And if you don't take the opportunity to take 2 very great offensive tackle prospects, then you're not putting him in the best position to be successful. I don't care what you say about Jamar Chase and him playing in college. They ain't going to do nothing for Tua if he get Devonta Smith. He's still going to be Tua, right? Like, that's not going to change anything. Give him the best offensive line help you can get and help him.
Ace.
Yeah, for me, I think in terms of weaknesses or team needs, offensive line, tackle, and guard, you're going to hear a lot of Bengals fans saying, we already got a tackle. Riley Reef is 31, turning 32. Next season, he's going to be 33. That's a Band-Aid. That's not a full, 5 years down the road, like Quincy is saying. Like, I have Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's young. I'm not competing for a championship this season. This isn't the Arizona Cardinals where we're loading up on veterans for our last ride, even though they have a young Kyler Murray. This isn't that. This is a team that is picking in the top 5. They were picking number 1 overall, 2 years from from this date. So for me, you're building for the future. You're building for someone that's going to be next to Joe for the next 10 to 15 years. And you could easily do that with the offensive lineman. You got Jonah Williams. I had someone on the show, Vach Lombardi, a very notable guy. He said something that was very important. No Bengals fan right now can look in the mirror and say, I'm going to sign Jonah Williams to a second contract. That's supposed to be your tackle of the future, and you're not even certain about him. Riley Reif, he's old. Guys retire. Think about Clint Bowling and all of these guys. Like, there's not that much tread left on Riley Reif's tires. And I'm not saying that Riley Reif is a bad guy. I love the pick when we got him, but when you sign him for 1 year and not 2 or 3, that means that you have a need at offensive guard as well as offensive tackle. Like, yeah, if Riley Reif sticks around for the next 3 years, cool. But technically, I'm looking at 2022, you don't have a right tackle. So you know what? That means that you're going to have to pick one in this draft, or it's going to have to be next draft. So for me, offensive guards, both of them, for me. I know some people are sold on Quentin Spain and just trying to put everything on Frank Pollock, just assuming that Frank Pollock is just this legendary offensive line coach. But the truth of the matter is, ask Sam Darnold about how many hits he took last season under a Frank Pollock offensive line. And you have to just be realistic about that stuff. So before I get off on a tangent, offensive line, defensive line, you talk about the edge rushing position as well as the defensive interior as well, because even though I love Larry Ogunjobi as well, he's only here on a 1-year deal. So you don't have anyone outside of DJ Reader, the way that I'm looking at it, outside of that. So you need to get some kind of depth or somebody there for the defensive interior. And I think that that's an underrated need that they have, and it's really thin in this class. So we'll have to see where they go with that. And then the other one that no one's talking about is kicker. Like, Austin Seibert is our kicker right now. That is cool. Not very comfortable. Quincy already knows about Austin Seibert. Austin Seibert is our kicker right now.
Twitter tells me he's great.
We got to get a kicker. I'm sure that they would love for that to happen. So for me, it's offensive line, defensive line. The trenches got to get back repaired. It's kicker. I mean, eventually it's going to be corner, because even though they've done a lot at the corner position, I still don't like the long-term ramifications of it. Trey Waynes, to me, is kind of scary having him as our number 1 corner in this division, especially with the Steelers. And you're talking about the Browns, who have great weapons in the receiving core. Tight end I've talked about as well, but if I'm just going to go with the 3, offensive line, defensive line, and that's not even 3, but and then the kicker, I think.
From Misfish Culture here, thank you for the donation. Ace, if the Bengals pass on Selwell at the 5 spot, I will write the Bengals a letter and tell them how they let you down. Okay, let's move on now to the Steelers. Ooh, the Steelers is a good one.
Oh God.
Let me see. Who should I start? Q. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Who do you not want the Steelers to draft? Who is that player do you think the Steelers?
This is the most obvious one. Jalen Phillips. I don't want to see that dude in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform, because in the right hands, you just got rid of Bud Dupree, right? So you finally got some breathing room. All right, TJ Watt, Bud Dupree, that's a mess. All right, that's hard. I think Jalen Phillips could be much better than Bud Dupree, much more consistent than Bud Dupree, and much more versatile than Bud Dupree. And they got TJ Watt. And they still got a really good defense. You know, Minka's still back there, you know, B+.
Devin Bush is coming back. Don't forget, Devin Bush coming back.
Well, you know, we don't know what we getting out of Devin Bush. You know, yeah, he's just what they like to say. It's just a name at this point, right? They say that with Odell all the time. He's just a name at this point. And Devin Bush is just a name at this point. You know, y'all never have corners, but y'all rush good enough to get away with it. So, you know, yeah, I don't want to see them get Jalen Phillips. He seems like a Steeler guy to me that will just blossom in the Pittsburgh Steeler system and just be as good as TJ Watt. And like, I'm not trying to see that, because one, I like Jalen Phillips a lot. I don't want to see him in a Pittsburgh uniform. I do think he would be really good there, and he would carry y'all to like 9-10 wins probably. Well, not he himself, but that defense would.
How do you, so real quick, because I know Quincy's done a bunch of work on the linebackers. What about JOK on the Steelers?
Oh my God. I just don't, I think like for a team like the Steelers, I don't know because y'all do put linebackers just out there on slots like a disproportionate amount of time.
Yeah. It's the Keith Butler way.
Yeah, it's the Keith Butler way. So like,
he's like, I gotta put Spillane on Keenan Allen. Let's do it.
I don't know if they would like eventually let him roam the way that I feel like if he does, he could be really dangerous.
Yeah.
In a Keith Butler system, he would be very good. Like, I would not be happy to see him or like any of the guys
He's your
I like.
linebacker, right? He's your number one linebacker.
He's like my number one like favorite tape guy at the draft.
I
mean, he's the tape dude award. He got one play where he just steal the ball from some dude from Clemson and then just run it back. And I like stuff like that. I like a bully that can run fast. He's a bully that can run fast.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't like to see that. But I've watched so much of that Jalen Phillips. I just have an emotional attachment to him panning out. And like I really want the Browns to get him, and it'll just break my heart if he goes to Pittsburgh and he's really good. one pick. If the Browns move on him, and then like Jalen Phillips is good, and then like you guys get him behind us, all right, whatever. That's the Browns' fault. We were stupid. But if the Steelers get a reward for that butt kicking they took on Sunday Night Football, and they get Jalen Phillips in front of the Browns, scorched earth. And then the Browns do something like draft Rosu. Oh man, that would be insult to injury. And then the Ravens get Aziz. Oh man, I'll be upset.
Ace, what do you think, man?
I think for me, it's Najee Harris. I think for a while, when I thought about the Pittsburgh Steelers, even when they had all of those receiving weapons, I was always worried about Le'Veon Bell. And so that's a dimension that they've been missing for a while now. And I think that if they have Najee Harris, that's an explosive offense. And especially since the Ravens just ran for 400 yards on us. I'm worried about running backs, especially when you got to go against Chubb. You talk about Lamar Jackson. I'm not trying to make a joke about him being a running back, but you also have to be worried about that as well as Dobbins. And so for me, I don't want to see Najee Harris in this division with the Steelers.
Okay, I'm going to throw this. I'm not trying to disrespect the Steelers right now, but of all the teams here, I think the Steelers from last year to now, the Browns fail, in my opinion, they got better. The Ravens are about the same. I feel the Steelers right now, pre-draft, right? Pre-whatever they can sign, are worse than last year at this moment. So saying that, the player that I would not want the Steelers to draft is one of these QBs and let them sit behind Big Ben. Like if we're still, Mac Jones. Well, but
you don't want to see Mac Jones in black and gold.
Even Fields, if he slacks a little bit and they go trade,
Fields is the one I don't want to see.
Nobody better be stupid enough to let Justin Fields fall to 24.
No, but I don't think he will fall to 24. But let's
or
say
even fall past.
They'll trade up to get him. If he falls, they'll jump up to get him.
Let's say he falls to the 12 or 13, and because the Steelers traded to get Bush from 26, right, to 10 or something like that.
I remember clearly.
So
right in front of us.
So let's say he falls past the Cowboys at 10. I don't know who's 11, and the Steelers go get them. Yeah, I agree with Quincy on Phillips. He could be an interesting. Najee Harris can also be interesting, and those are players that might help them now and next year. Then the Steelers, without Big Ben, can obviously take a big step back. But if they get a guy like Justin Fields and leave him behind Big Ben for a year, now the Steelers can have they can keep being a good team in this division. And I'm ready for the Steelers to crap the bed after this year. So Fields or somebody like that, that will be the guy that I will not want the Steelers to draft. Tony.
Tony, in a sane world, you guys would be able to have a chance at like a Trey Lance here. Like if quarterback crazy.
Exactly. If every good quarterback didn't go in the top 10, then you would think a guy like Lance would be the one to fall. But it's gonna be Fields that'll fall. It's from
Lance or Fields, either one.
Fields falls, but Lance doesn't. I don't understand.
Well, there's a report today that right before we started airing from Ed Bouchette, who said that that the Steelers like Kyle Trask more than even one of the top 5 guys.
Take him in the first round.
And that one guy, and then another guy came in. I'm gonna forget who it was that came in to add on to that report, but they said the one guy the Steelers don't like out of that top class is Trey Lance. They don't like Trey Lance. But when we talk about like what do the Steelers need, every Steeler fan is fighting right now on Twitter. Go on Steelers Twitter. There's a fight right now breaking out between one guy who says there's no value of taking a running back in round 1. They can wait. They should wait till round 2 or 3 to do it. And then there's a whole bunch of other Steeler fans saying, no. The Steelers waited for Anthony McFarland. They waited for Benny Snell. They waited for James Conner. They can't wait anymore. We need our first round guy, right? That fight is happening. Even though the thing I find somewhat intellectually dishonest about that debate is that no Steeler fan is going to argue that the Steelers shouldn't take a running back. And if they don't get him one in round 1, wait till round 4 again, because that's when McFarland and Benny Snell and Jalen Samuels were taken, right? Obviously, yeah, you're going to want an ETN or a Javonte Williams or a Trey Sermon, whoever falls into the 2nd or 3rd round. That's your guy. Don't wait till round 4 and get Kylan Hill or whatever. That's the same thing as Anthony McFarland. But I think it's offensive line and running back. Look, the owner there, Art Rooney, said they have to improve the running game. They were 32nd. I sent you guys, I sent a tweet out the other day. They were 32nd, the Steelers were, in every major statistical category in the running game. Right now, you can argue about whether or not, what's more important is to fix the offensive line or to fix the running game. But regardless, you probably got to do both, and the Steelers are likely to do both. I think center is going to be an option, whether it's Creed Humphrey, whether it's Landon Dickerson, Quinn Miners, Kendrick Green. There's a ton of centers in this class. And I think on the defensive side, corner is the biggest need there because, you cut Steven Nelson. Look, I'm a big James Pierre guy. I love James Pierre. He's got 11 snaps. So I'm not ready to see him.
Who's James Pierre?
James Pierre is the next great Steeler corner. You guys will see about him in that.
What happened to Justin Lane?
The guy getting burned.
Justin Lane is he's gone.
The 2nd round?
He's third round.
Okay. That's not terrible.
Yeah, and it's one of those guys who, as soon as the Steelers took him, you went, okay, there's no way they're going to fix what's wrong with Justin Lane. So that's another waste of a corner, and that's what we've seen so far on film. Look, for me personally, I hope the Steelers go offensive line early. I think a guy like Tevin Jenkins to fit in for the Steelers, the Mauler type. Love that. I like Liam Eichenberg because Eichenberg from Notre Dame. While, all these other tackles, are they guards? Alexander, is he really a guard? Is Radins really a guard? No one says that about Eichenberg, but Eichenberg just doesn't have the physical tools that the other guys have, but he's very technically sound. I think you want that at left tackle. He could be just a solid pick, not going to blow the doors off, but a solid pick at left tackle. I think those are the guys
By the way, he reminds me, not as good, but he reminds me of another Notre Dame tackle, McGlinchey. Remember him?
Yeah,
He gives me those vibes. He will obviously be the first round pick.
The weird part is all of these tackles that are they're going to be a guard at the next level. Who is actually a guard and who is a tackle? That's the hardest thing to figure out about.
They're Tristan Wirfs is a guard. Remember that one?
Yeah. It's so silly. Everyone's like, oh, this guy's actually a guard. Jackson Carman, no, he's actually a guard. Jalen Mayfield, no, he's actually a guard. This is a great tackle class, but they all happen to be guards.
Is anybody actually a tackle?
Yeah, it's a great tackle class if you need a guard. So that's really what this class boils down to. But no, I think I'm on team. Take a tackle, then take a running back later. I love Javonte Williams. I think Javonte Williams. There are times when I watch his tape and I'm like, this guy might be running back 1. We might be thinking about this 5 years from now and going, how do we have Najee Harris running back 1 and not Javonte Williams? And I think he's likely going to be the 3rd running back off the board. Maybe you can get him at 55. I think so for me, it's offensive line, it's running back, it's corner. Those are the big 3. And then linebacker, if the Steelers want to take JOK, I'm not going to hate it because I think it's a luxury pick, but boy, you pair him with those guys on defense.
Love him.
Love it.
Okay, so before we go, let me do
the cover one they do with Minka is going to be it's a nasty one. You're not
let me do some super chats here real quick. What if the Browns pick at 26, but they also package picks to trade up into the first round? Is that even possible? Well, the Browns, if I'm not mistaken, have 2/3, right? Q?
Yeah, they got 2/3.
So in theory, they will have to pay their second and at least one of their thirds, maybe something else, because that 2nd round pick is late. So they'll be jumping almost a whole round to go back to the first round.
My question to this is why would the the 2 first round picks is you need starters. You know what I mean? That's usually what that's for. And the Browns really don't need starters right now, so I don't know why they would do that.
Maybe. Okay, you can make an argument. Maybe wide receiver like an Elijah Moore, you don't think is going to be there. And they're like, oh, we got to go up and get Elijah Moore. I guess maybe then, but
you can get that with your first round pick, right?
Well, let's say they take JOK and then they take Elijah Moore. They trade back in and get Elijah Moore.
Or you can just wait till next year.
Yeah,
you got Odell.
Or the second. You can wait till the 2nd round. I mean, this is this is a good wide receiver class.
So
shout out to Nandan here, Canadian the Nation. Nende. Okay, sorry. I bet that's my Hispanic. That's my Hispanic ace there. The Bengals with O line and D line. Yeah. There you go. Joshua Matter says, sorry if already. And by the way, shout out to everybody for the super chat. Sorry if we already talked about, but with Julio possibly being traded, does that mean the Falcons take Chase at 4? I think the Falcons are gonna take Pitt. It makes sense to take Pitt. But I'll be surprised if they take Chase, because you can put Pitt over there on the outside and say you're gonna be my new Julio. I think he's way more than capable of doing that. Go ahead.
One other thing to talk about with the Falcons, the reason why they have to trade Julio is because of the salary cap concerns, right? So one thing, they could trade out of that pick, because if you trade out, then that actually makes the cap hit of your draft class goes down, right? Yeah. And pretty substantially the more you trade back. So another thing to watch for with the Falcons, they're incentivized by the salary cap to get out of 4 and get back, but still get their guy.
I feel bad for Justin Fields. He even went to Georgia, going to get told to get out of there for Jake Fromm, and he's going to be there at 4. And the Atlanta Falcons going to look at him like, oh, yeah, you from the hometown. Nah, dog, we're going to trade back to 10.
Yeah. If JOK falls into 18-20, should Browns make a deal? We're going to talk about the Browns now, so I'll let you answer that when he goes back. So, Ace, let me know, who do you think is that guy that you don't want the Browns to get?
I kind of said it earlier in the show, and I'm going to go with Caleb Farley, because I think for them to get the value of Caleb Farley that low in the draft would be a steal. It's almost similar to when they got Greedy Williams for me, because I didn't expect Greedy Williams to be there in the second round, whereas Caleb McFarley, when I looked at some of the corners in this class, because at the time the Bengals needed a corner, so I studied the corners. I actually did kind of like Caleb McFarley better than Pat Surtain, because Pat Surtain isn't a physical corner. That was the main concern. He was a good corner. He was not physical. He did not seem like he would be able to fit the AFC North mode. Farley is definitely physical. And going against Farley and I think Denzel Ward, if they're able to land that, is something that's a concern for me. So I think I didn't even plan this, but I think it's actually that. The more that I'm hearing about the potential about him falling, where I didn't even think that it would be a possibility for them to be able to get him, I think that's the one that scares me the most.
Okay. Before I go to Tony here, can you guys, we have over 300 people. Thank you for that. Thank you for watching. Only 94 likes, so make sure you hit that like button. Come on, man. Smash it real quick. Boom. Smash it real quick. So, Tony.
If you don't like us, and if you don't, say it to my face.
Tony,
hold on. We have 300 people watching and only no. We got to get over 100. Yeah. I'm not saying anything until we get over 100.
We already over 100. We already over 100.
Let's go.
Tony, what do you think? Who is that?
Yeah, I mean, as the resident backup Browns fan here on the show, yeah, I go back and forth on this one. Okay, corner, I think, and this is what you guys hit on already, right? It's like, there's a couple good corners in this class that Boyle would like. Patrick Surtain, just again, the long speed is a problem for him, but everything else, he's like the perfect corner. JC Horn, the physicality and everything he brings to the table, I wouldn't want to see him on the Browns. But the guy I come back to is the one I think is most realistic. People could talk about JOK not being there at 26. He could easily be there at 26. JOK to the Browns. No. Chess piece. I mean, this is a guy at the second level, right, that they just don't have right now. The Browns at the second level at best have guys where you're like, oh, yeah, he's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, that's fine players. They're all fine. You had a real playmaker at that level, and now you're talking about a defense that, again, you can start to build around, because Denzel Ward, when healthy, is still a high-level corner. I believe in Grant Delpit and what he's going to do coming back. And they got, John Johnson at safety. Easy for us to say. So, yeah, for me, it's JOK at linebacker is the one guy I do not want to see the Browns take.
I completely agree here. Look, especially as a Baltimore Ravens fan, I think JC Horn, Surtain, if they trade up and get them, I will not like that, yes, but that diffuses for at least this is pure for Baltimore. That would be fine, right, for Baltimore if they upgrade in corner. Right now, the Browns their biggest weakness is what I would consider, corner maybe, but linebacker and interior D lineman, and that's where the Ravens can exploit them. I love their edges. Right? I love the Clowney signing. I think it was amazing. I talk about it. Miles, obviously, they have pretty good corners. Obviously, health is a problem. But JOK, and I said this pre-stream. I said it when we were talking about this topic. I said JOK is the guy that I don't want in the Browns. Like, I think JOK is a guy that could create problems here in Baltimore.
Let's just agree we don't want him in the division at all, right? Just like you, if we all pack together, right? Then we put him somewhere else in another division. There you go.
I will say this: I would prefer him. I would prefer him and the Steelers before the Browns.
Really?
Yes. I'm gonna tell you why. I think the Browns are a team that is not only geared to win this year. I mean, they're geared to win. To keep winning and progressing. And now you have a young linebacker that can play all over the field. I think at the Steelers, this is why I think for me the worst thing the Steelers get, or for not for them, but for us, is they get the quarterback for after Ben. But if you get JOK over there in the Browns, this is not.
Did you forget we have Dwayne Haskins? Did you forget about Dwayne Haskins?
I forgot.
But yeah, and that's right. Kyle Trask is coming in round 3. I mean, listen, we got multiple options. We might run 2 quarterback sets. You never know.
I would love to see that. But Q. Tell me, who do you like over there?
Yeah, so like the Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah run, right? I had such an interesting play. Tony, I want you to imagine this like this. Imagine your favorite player and your favorite tape in the draft is a running back. Okay. And you're just at this weird place where you're like, boy, I love this player. I don't know if my franchise values this position. And I don't know if they value this position to kind of build around Koramoah like they need to get the most out of him. Not that like you need to build around him to be good, because he could do anything on the football field. He's just an extremely good football player. But it's just, yes, everything the Browns ask a linebacker to do, he does extremely well. Like, it's just, oh my God, he does everything the Browns would need him to do. It's just, do the Browns feel like they need somebody to be as good as what he does to fill that role? And are they willing to trade up for it? Or are they willing to select it in the first round? I have no idea what the answer to that question is. Would I take Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah if he is there at 26 and like Jalen Phillips isn't, like, that's the only guy I'm probably going over for? Because I feel like edge is a bigger need because you only have those 1-year deals with Tack and Jadeveon. Yeah, I would. It's just, I don't know where the franchise is. And I'm not a linebacker in the first round guy, but, it's just, I love the player.
But he's not just a linebacker, right? Because you can use he plays so much in the nickel, safety. I mean, he does everything.
You can like the ideal of just like, oh yeah, you can put John Johnson wherever you want on the field and then just put him in, and then you can just disguise all these coverages and just drop back. Imagine like a UFO, like if the Steelers would do this, right? Where they would just put everybody on the line. You legitimately like have 4 guys. You're like, I don't know what they could blitz, they could do it, and you're just stuck. And you got Myles Garrett, which it's its own problem. And you got Denzel Ward probably out there on the island or somebody if he's healthy. So like, I'm perplexed right now. Like, I really love the player. I just don't know if they're gonna do it. And I don't want to talk. I don't want to be like Raven fans here where they talk themselves up about this wide receiver and in the Ravens draft a tackle or something like that. Like, I don't want to do it to myself. So I'm going to try to temper myself. Biggest needs, look, they need an edge rusher, right? I think that's pretty obvious. Like, yeah, Jadeveon Clowney, I love Jadeveon Tack. I think you could do some interesting things with him, but you need to prepare for the future, right? You don't want to leave Myles with nobody on the other side again like you did last year because it's not good for his health. You need to protect the assets. So you need to get another edge rusher. Luckily this year, Peyton Turner, you can get Peyton Turner in the second round. Like, that could happen. I know Ronnie Perkins. People like Ronnie Perkins. You can probably get Ronnie Perkins in the second round. You can get some decent dudes in the second round. You can get somebody like Aziz in the first. So I'm comfortable with the edge position there. Corner, another area where like you could get somebody in the second round. You could take a gamble here and there in the third if you really wanted to. And you can probably get somebody really good in the first, right? You can get a Caleb Farley. You can get Greg Newsome, who I like a lot. You could get one of those guys there probably at 26 without even having to maneuver the board. But man, that's an interesting proposition. If JOK is there at 26,
I don't want it.
How do you say no? I would almost be tempted to be like, hey, Troy Hill, Guess like you playing on the outside and Jeremiah playing the slot. Like we'll figure it out, baby. Like what coaches like to say, we just gonna put the best 11 dudes on the field.
That did it.
Yeah, and then there are times with with JOK where you can, you don't have to go into nickel, right? You can stay in base, even if they're in 3 wide, and you can just put JOK out there on a slot. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to do it, against the best slots in the league, but
we're not gonna do them like Juju or nothing like that.
Yeah, I mean against Devin Duvernay though, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, you can do it.
I will put him in. That's weird. Yeah. Anyway,
you can do it on Devin Duvernay.
He
had like 300 yards last year. What do you mean? Skates?
Wait for this year. Q, will you be mad if the Browns get wide receiver in the first round? Shout out to you, we them boys.
It depends on who the wide receiver is. They get another dude who's just the same athletic profile as Odell and Jarvis, it's going to irritate me. And it's not going to irritate me because if it's a bad decision. I get why you're doing it. It's going to irritate me because I know what the questions I'm going to get for all summer are going to be. Is Odell going to be traded?
When is he going to get traded? When is he going to get traded?
Well, they drafted Elijah Moore. Oh my God, Odell's on the trading block. All the rumors. ESPN, you will
great
see
content.
You will see ESPN put their Manscaped package to work because they will be ready to go if the Browns draft a wide receiver first overall. Because you bet they're going to have Lewis Nix come out there or Lewis Reddick come out there and be like, well, heard they're looking to shop Odell. And then here we go again. This has been
he's got to do another Odell video.
I said I was done in the last one. It's been 2 years at this point where every time Odell tweets something, oh my God, did Odell get traded? Oh my, if it gets retweeted by the wrong person, if Odell likes the tweet and it gets to the point where people built up resentment towards Odell, this ain't got nothing to do with Odell. This is just what people do around him. And it's crazy because people tell me he's not good, but they paid as much attention to him. So it's just
listen. Let's be honest. Look, we all have our own YouTube channels. We're all content creators. Okay, what we want on draft night is one of two things as content creators. One, a pick that the fan base loves, blown away, can't believe that guy was there, or we want the guy everyone hates. Right? That's what we want. That's what's going to drive the views.
I'm happily going to put out those Jamar Chase videos.
If they get Rozu, I'm just going to break down every single game of Rozu's tape from Miami and be like, this is not good. He moves like a
He's going to see that, Quincy. He's going to be like, my man Quincy's always hating on me.
I'm pretty sure Marquise Brown has seen some of the stuff I have said about him. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's out there. Like, what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Like, I just try to be honest about the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But, even if Rozu thought I didn't like what I said, what he going to do? Get me? I'm going to just run. He's not fast. He has I'll just go left. He can't go left.
The wildest thing is I might be interviewing Drew Sample. So just think about that. Ooh. That's going to be awkward.
Yeah. I saw. I'm going to leave that for after the show. I'll tell you all that after the show. But yeah, man. Like, that's one thing. But the Odell stuff, I can't do nothing with the Odell stuff because it just drains me. And I'm not making videos about these Odell trade rumors that don't exist because if I do, I'm just perpetuating more noise out there that it's just this thing that people are going to be irritated about all summer. And I got to be like, y'all chill. He's not going nowhere. He don't want to go nowhere. Why does Odell always want to leave us? It's not Odell saying he wants to go. It's just ESPN. And it's just, please, I don't want to deal with it. Andrew Berry, help a brother out. All right? Like, don't do this. Because if you take Elijah Moore in the first round, it's raps. It's raps for my whole summer. I'm gonna just do all my videos all summer in an Odell jersey, just so nobody has any questions about what I feel about the situation. Because I get the question every week 3 times. Are the Browns going to trade Odell? Should the Browns trade Odell? And I'm just like, I'm not taking those questions no more. Stop asking me. My mind has not changed.
I will say this. I don't want the Ravens to draft Rousseau, but I would be happy if one of y'all draft him.
Get him off the board before the Ravens are on the board.
Let's be real. Bengals in the second round. That's happening, right? The Bengals in the second round. Oh, my God. He's still there?
It's possible. They're going to be like, forget the lineman. Let's take Gregory Rousseau.
Before you say you need an edge. Before we go to
Hey, look, no, let's not lie to ourselves. Whichever one of our teams, if we take Rosu, I'm sorry,
Russo.
whoever takes Rousseau, one of us are going to talk ourselves into it. Like, regardless of what team takes it, I'm gonna put all them film reviews out. I'll be like, but he can add weight.
Listen, if any of your teams take Rousseau and you don't give your when we do the grades and you don't give that pick an F, you're a liar. You're a liar.
Maybe he could just be long and eat double teams. You know, we just put him on the inside like a one tech.
Oh, wait, hold on, Sonny. Are you about to already like lay the groundwork for not giving the pick an F?
Profiler JPP.
If the team picks it third round or later, because
all the third round.
I know, but I'm saying if for some reason he goes to the third round or later, then I wouldn't give it an F, because at that point, you know, you're just taking a fly.
You know what I mean?
First or second round, that's where I have a problem.
Second round isn't bad for him. He's expecting
no. The second round's bad for him.
Early second?
No. What I'm saying is, if you get him in the second round, that's not like, oh, you reach for Gregory Rousseau.
I don't like him in the second either.
It depends on who on the board. If Peyton Turner on the board and you take Gregory Rousseau, I don't know what to tell you. Now look, again, this could age like milk. Like, you know what I mean? Like in 3 years, people are like,
he's gonna be the next top pro. We're gonna have to delete all these videos off YouTube.
We're gonna be like, oh, he won the defensive player of the year, and you know, we
cancel the whole channel. You remember AFC North talk? Oh yeah, they hate Rousseau and they had to delete the
channel. You know who loves Gregory Rousseau? Calais Campbell. Anyway,
he knows something.
Yeah, no. You got to protect your homeboy. That's what that is. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure, Ace, if you had a Rattler, you know, coming out, you ain't gonna be out here breaking down that film super critical. You be like, look, he's developing. He's got skills. Y'all beating too hard on my homie right here. You know what I mean? You got to do what you. When Derek Rivers was coming out of Youngstown State, I was convincing myself that he was gonna make it out of Youngstown State. And he was gonna be the next big thing for the Patriots. And now he wears 40-something for the Rams. Like it just is what it is.
Okay. So
I feel like, yo, we should sign Derek Rivers and free.
Do y'all think the Steelers who get 28
28-0 in the first quarter of the playoff game this year? The Steelers finally have a really hard schedule. # big oof. Thanks, Dylan. Moving on.
By the way, what pick did the Steelers have?
24th. Yeah.
24.
Y'all got the 24th pick, but like, and the Browns got like the 26th and 27th when y'all won the division. That's wild.
We had the best record of all the wild card losers.
But like y'all got
we were the best loser.
So the NFL supplemented y'all. That's wild.
Yeah. Well, because it goes by. So if you lose in the wild card round, you get slotted right then, right? Then you go to the division round, you get slotted, and you lose in that round. Then you get
in the wild card.
Yes. Do you not remember? We lost in the wild card round.
We got lose to the Browns. What's the score of that game, man?
All right, let's. Are we wrapping up? Do we have anything else?
We're gonna do the Ravens.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
They put like 40 on them. Damn.
Raven for me is Kyle Pitts.
Shout out,
Kyle Pitts. I do not want to see Kyle Pitts in a Ravens jersey at all whatsoever.
That was nothing.
But it's not. I mean, come on. Is that realistic though? Like, I guess they could package both together and get into the 10, like to 10, right? They have to give up more.
That's about it.
They have to give up a lot.
I would never underestimate the ability for NFL teams to talk themselves out of a great player. It has never stopped them before. Did Warren Sapp? Everybody knew Warren Sapp was great coming out of college. Did he go like 15th or something like that? Like Ray Lewis, they were talking themselves out of Ray Lewis. He went like 8th.
Yeah, I think that they can move up. I mean, they definitely have to move in front of the Cowboys.
Aaron Donald went 14, and it's not like the tape wasn't good on Aaron Donald. It was just people were like, well, he's a defensive tackle. You can't take him in the top 10.
Positional value.
Yeah. Teams will. I will never underestimate, and because I'm a Browns fan, by the way. Like I've watched the Browns talk themselves out of good players. Like
don't take this future Hall of Famer because he plays X position.
Here's the goofy ones, right? There are people telling you not to take Miles because he jumps off sides. There's people telling you not to take great corners because they sometimes get holding penalties, and it's like, bro. Pros and cons. Like, I'll take J.C. Horn. He's gonna get some DPIs, whatever. You know what I mean? You'll take that. Myles Garrett gets a ton of false starts. He gets a ton of strip sacks. You just live with it.
Yep. So pick for A's. How about you, Tony?
Tevin Jenkins. I think Tevin Jenkins, Mauler right tackle, fit him right in with Orlando Brown. He does the exact same thing. I mean, this is a guy who just, this guy loves putting people in the dirt. That's what Tevin Jenkins does on every play. So yeah, I would no thank you to Baltimore.
Q.
Yeah, I don't want to see Tevin Jenkins in Baltimore. I agree with Tony on that. But like, come on, man, we ain't trying to see Kyle Pitts out there. Like, come on, like, yeah, you know what's up. You know,
I mean, you're not wrong, but
yeah, we're not trying to see that because, like, yo, that is everything that offense needs. Because we've seen Lamar with good tight end play, right? And Mark Andrews is cool, but like Kyle Pitts is another level, and they don't have a ton of wide receiver depth over there, so they can really do the Jimmy Graham thing. We're like, yo, just Kyle Pitts just go wide. You the X on this play. Like, do whatever you want. We're not trying to get these guys snaps behind you. Like, we're just gonna throw the ball to Kyle Pitts. Throw it up to Kyle Pitts. Lamar, run option, follow Kyle Pitts. Throw that thing up to Kyle Pitts. Fake it to him. You could just run past the dude and score a touchdown, or you could throw it up to Kyle Pitts and score. It will be like backyard basketball with Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews. You don't even got to have Hollywood. Hollywood want the 5. Like, Hollywood can line up out there, wear number 5. Whatever you want to do, Hollywood, baby. We might throw it to you. But we're going to line up Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews on the left side, and we just going to do a play action roll over to that side, and we're going to see who open because somebody's going to be open at that point. Or we just going to run it. And I'm not trying to live with them problems. There is absolutely no corner in this division that is guarding Kyle Pitts right now. Nobody on the Browns is doing it. We're going to put Grant Delpit's ACL out there. Oh, John Johnson, do something on Kyle Pitts. That's probably not going to work. I like John Johnson. I like Troy Hill. But Kyle Pitts got more length and size on him. And he's just coming out of Florida, let alone if he develops and matures. Now, you can say Greg Roman offense, that's not going to work. LOL, they suck at wide receivers. They don't suck at tight ends. Like, they're very good at
he's not a tight end. But he's not a tight end. He's more of a receiver. So
he's a football receiver. He is a dude who catches the ball. That's all you need to know. He's a guy that's going to lead your team in targets. Whatever you want to categorize him as, you can categorize him. God forbid, he can block too. Oh, yeah. That's really going to be hurtful to the Ravens and how the Ravens play, having a big old wide receiver that has experience blocking. So when a DB tries to sneak up in a run lane, here come Kyle Pitts clearing it out. No, I almost choked on my tongue talking about Kyle Pitts on the Ravens. I absolutely want nothing to do with Kyle Pitts on the Ravens. I would tell the Browns to mortgage their future, to jump in front of the Ravens if they made such a move to get Kyle Pitts, to take Kyle Pitts, just so that can't happen for them. I would ruin Kyle Pitts' future just so he doesn't end up in Baltimore. No, I'm not trying to think. I'm not. No, that's my nightmare. When they got those 2 first-round picks, I was like,
my goodness.
I was like, uh-oh.
To get Kyle Pitts. I don't want that. I've been joking about the Ravens all year long. They wide receiver core. This would be just desserts for me, and I'm not trying to eat that yet. No, I don't want Kyle Pitts, because if Kyle Pitts goes to the Ravens, they're going to go like 14-2. Everybody's going to be talking about the Ravens. Lamar's going to win 2 MVPs, and it's a wrap. It's a wrap at that point.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, and it ain't gonna matter that they gave up Orlando Brown, because they get lucky and get a tackle in the 2nd round, just like they got Orlando Brown. Like, the Ravens get the dumbest luck. And you know what? I'm starting to turn all my Steeler hate into Raven hate now. And if they get Kyle Pitts, woo, Sonny.
If they get Kyle Pitts, I might end
Let me say this. Kyle Pitts is my dream scenario, right? Last year, I said this I tried to say, like, what would be I call it the Disney scenario, right? Because everybody's happy in Disney. Last year, I said, like, I'm good if the Ravens trade every single pick, like they did with Ricky Williams, to go get Chase Young, right? Obviously, I knew that's not going to happen. We had less draft capital last year. Now we have 2 first-round picks. If we do that for Kyle Pitts, I'm all in for that. Because the reality is we can patch our tackle next year with Kelly or Villanueva, I guess, for the right tackle. Also, we have Phillips that we drafted last year. He could be the backup for them. He was okay. Lamar does make tackles a little bit better. So that's good. Hey, Kyle Pitts, I would love that. Now, going back to more of a realistic picks, Bateman, Jenkins. If we don't draft a tackle in those first 2 picks, that tells me they're content with either Kelly or Villanueva and Phillips. Big Al. So they might just say we can go with either Kelly, Villanueva, and Phillips and let them battle it out, and the other person is a backup. Is that might work for a year. Bateman is one of my favorite receivers. Marshall also pretty good. I love this, a luxury pick, but Mooring for TCU. Yeah, I like him a lot.
Your boy Joker, though.
I'll take Joker too. I think that would be nasty there. You can put them here with that's also a luxury pick, but I'll take him too. Edges, because I know people, because Baltimore doesn't have edges, right? And I have batched the edge class a lot. Phillips for Miami is probably the most polished one. My problem with Phillips is concussions. I'm super scared that just he's gonna get the concussions and he might not play because that's a serious injury. He retired the year before because of concussions. Paye is a lot of people ask me about Paye. I think Paye is a 4-3 DN. He is essentially, in my opinion, or he could be, Ngakoue. And Ngakoue is a good pass rusher when he is in a 4-3 base DN, and you just tell him, just go rush. That's not Baltimore. That's what he was not really good in Baltimore. And I don't think Paye is a fit. I think if they trade back, they might get one of the second round edges, and I'll be okay with it, I guess, depending who it is, not Rizzo. But if they get, for example, if they get Phillips and Jenkins, I think that would be a great draft for Baltimore. Another way to see this draft is Jenkins and one of the centers. If they trade back a little bit and get one of the centers, that will also be good for Baltimore. Solidify the O-line. The O-line will be young, and they can move forward with that or get a receiver and the tackle. But again, if I will not be surprised. Actually, I will not be shocked if they don't go tackle. And for some reason they go edge. I would prefer if they go tackle, right? And they don't go edge at all and say, you're just going to sign all these older dudes that is out here and just put all veterans and go with that. I would prefer that over, not drafting an edge and not drafting a tackle. I think they're going to pick one of the two. And I think they might go receiver. Now, if it is Kyle Pitts, man, I'll be happy. I'll be excited. But anyway, guys, we have been here over an hour. Make sure you hit that like button. So before we go, I will say this. First round, everybody's going to do on their channel minus me. I'll be in one of my guys' channel. Second round, Q&A. So you guys streaming second round pick? Second round?
Yeah, I'm going to be there for the whole draft, man, just like last year.
You doing 3 days?
3 days.
You're doing day 3 as well?
I did it last year.
All right. Hey, good luck. Good luck.
Hey, man, look, I've seen who ESPN puts out there on day 3. I feel like you could just walk up at the table if you're willing to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Then I'm like, oh, you got Instagram? Okay, yeah, come on. Ace Boogie on day 3 of draft cover. Put them up there, baby. You know what I mean?
That's what we're trying to get. We're trying to work that. We're trying to get like 6-7 round picks. See what's up.
I love it.
Okay. Q, are you doing day 2?
Yeah, I'm definitely doing day 1, day 2. If the Browns like completely trade out of day 2, probably not doing day 2. Okay. But if they have a day 2 pick, I'll do day 2. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing for day 3. Might do an hour, might do nothing. Who knows? Gonna have a lot of picks to cover and do videos on anyway, so might just be doing that. But also definitely gonna be doing a video if Kyle Pitts ends up on the Baltimore Ravens. Again, not trying to see that. No. I need Atlanta to do the right thing. Grab Kyle Pitts.
Just no one trade with Baltimore. Like, no one let Baltimore come down. Like, just don't trade with Baltimore.
Somebody gonna be stupid enough to do it. Oh, we can get an extra second next year's draft, and we gonna be able to get it. Kyle Pitts, he ain't gonna be that good. He's a tight end in top 5. We gonna give it.
I love it. Tony, are you streaming day 1 and day 2?
Doing day 1, doing day 2. Yeah, I'll be doing both days on the channel. Look forward to it. I've done this once before. In fact, I don't know if anyone here remembers, but I was not happy the last time I did a live stream. The Steelers took Terrell Edmonds with the first pick. So I'm hoping this year I'm a little more excited when pick 24 rolls around.
Well, I'm hoping for a Terrell Edmonds type of pick. Anyway, so all channels are down below. Ace, just plug everything that you have, man.
New Stripe City on Twitter, also on YouTube. You can check out my stuff there. And of course, at AFC North Talk.
Okay, Tony?
Yeah, same for me here. You can find me on Twitter at Steeler Country. You can find my YouTube channel, Steeler Country, with Tony Serino. As we said, I'll be live on Thursday and Friday, and also did a draft preview video going over all the prospects I think the Steelers are likely to take this week.
Cute.
All right, you can find me on youtube.com/Quincy Carey, also on Twitter @Quincy. You can also find me if you live in the Atlanta metropolitan area, about to walk down to the Georgia Dome, or what is the Mercedes-Benz Dome, and talk to Arthur Blank about what the Atlanta Falcons better do at number 4 for the betterment of the league. So take Kyle Pitts. I'm gonna try to get a Kyle Pitts banner.
Take
put up there in
Chase.
Atlanta. No.
For the betterment of the Bengals.
No, let the Bengals make that mistake, baby. We gonna make sure this Kyle Pitts stays over in the NFC side. We ain't trying to get that virus over in the AFC North, right? Nobody in this division needs Kyle Pitts. Nobody needs it. Like, if the Bengals get it, all right, we can live with the Bengals. Like, Bengals just gonna put up some points. They're gonna be all right, but you can still get at them. If the Ravens get Kyle Pitts, all this work the Browns did in the offseason didn't mean nothing. Like, it just didn't mean nothing. Like, Jadeveon Clowney, who cares? And they got Kyle Pitts.
I love it. You can follow me, SCU Sports, everywhere. Like I said, day one, I'm not streaming. A couple of my other YouTubers, Ravens YouTubers are going to be streaming. So I'll be hopping around. But day two, most of them are coming to my channel. So swing by to the channel. It should be fun. Hey, guys, thank you for joining. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Go check Manscaped, promo code in the description.
Have you ever?
Are you listening? Damn.